And we are back right here at the 6th edition of the International Photography Festival at the Sharjah Expo Center. This is the world of photography and film, once in a year event from the 9th of February all the way till the 15th. This is where we bring in world-class photographers, world-class exhibitions and seminars, and all sorts of worldwide, world-renowned exhibitions. We've been spending this hour talking with some phenomenal, highly renowned photographers, and we yet have another photographer here welcoming Alain Schroeder. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
So, formally speaking, Alain Schroeder is a Belgian photographer who's been working in the industry for over 4 decades. That's over 40 years. Mashallah, as we say in Arabic. And from everything from sports photography in the 80s to the co-founder of a photo agency in Belgium, lending his business from the golden years of analog photography into the digital age. With years dedicated to the trade, Schroeder now pursues a life on the road with nothing but a camera and travels the world shooting illustrated stories on social issues, people, and their environment. What an honor. What an honor.
Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, definitely. So I want to ask you, first off, this, especially because you have 40 years in experience, and you were in the period of the analog age,
right,
to the digital.
Yes.
How was seeing that shift over time? Was it at the time daunting? It's like, oh no, all these things that I've learned and these accessories and technology are becoming obsolete. Did you have that fear of not being able to change?
No, not at all. In fact, all my years during analog photography helped me so much because I've experienced during I would say 20, 30 years of my life working in the lab, So that means that you, black and white, you had to process the film. It was also another way of approaching your work because, you could not shoot as much. You were never sure what you would have on your image, on your negative. And then you had to print them, so that means that Photoshop before Photoshop. Because, so because you have all those kind of tricks, like a black sheet with a hole in the middle, and then you would play like that for hours in the dark room.
And it must have been very expensive to acquire very specific things.
Exactly. And so, to answer your question, all these things, when we shifted to digital photography and to Photoshop as a post-production tool, I knew exactly what to do. I mean, when I see a picture, I know, okay, I do this. In the beginning, I didn't know how to do it, but it's just a tool. So you learn. I remember that, in the beginning of Photoshop, I spent the entire Christmas holidays, there is not much work at that time of the year. Every day with the book of Photoshop, I started page 1 and I finished page 300.
Oh my God.
So then I knew the tools. And then after that, it was very easy. Plus, as you said, I had a photo agency. So, many young photographers were hired by our company. And so at lunch, we would speak, so how do you do that? Good... connection.
They were practically magicians themselves.
Yes. And so they would tell me, oh, yes, you want to do that? I know one way to do it. And then the next day, another guy, oh, I have another way to do it. So you would learn a lot. But the basics is, honestly, it's much, let's say, stronger than the young photographers because they didn't go through all this process of analog photography.
Yeah. And did the feeling of seeing Kodak, which was the king in analog, just sort of slowly fall and just become something that is almost forgotten at this point? Is it something that you miss about their line of products?
No, I mean, I'm sorry for them, of course, because a lot of people lost their jobs. But, in the beginning, you would hear things like this from, let's say, old analog photographers. No, digital is not good, films are much better, and blah, blah, blah. Digital will never be as good, things like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I was totally against that idea. I thought it's much better technically. I mean, and so I always said, no, you are wrong. I'm sorry. If you don't embrace digital photography, I think in a few years you will disappear from the market. And was happening.
That was their biggest mistake.
Yeah, I mean, for Kodak, one thing, but for photographers, as I said, I'm 65 years old. So at the time I was, 40, 45. You had photographers of 50, 55 at the time, or my age. They are no longer there because they didn't embrace the technology, and that was a really big mistake.
There's something about like when you get older, you get more stubborn because you stick to your fundamentals.
Yeah, but that's totally wrong. You know why? I was shooting a lot of books, and when I saw the first time the quality of reproduction in a book, analog versus digital, I had to convince the director of the printing, of the publishing company, listen, the next book I do for you, you have to give me the chance to show you that digital is much better. No, all these things.
It must be hard to just show them like this is the trend. We have to
because he was 50 at the time. You are not director of a company at the age of 20, and then I convinced him. He said, okay, but if it's not good, it's your last book. Yeah, no problem. Okay. And so it was really...
And the rest is history.
Yeah, exactly.
You've
it was much better. And then he said, I'm going to ask the other photographers now to shoot digital as well, because you are right.
Pretty much. And it's no simple feat. Actually, I feel like it's understatement. You've illustrated over 30 books covering everything from China, Iran, ancient Rome, the gardens of Europe, and so much more. The adage goes that a picture is worth 1,000 words. But you say that a series of pictures tell an everlasting story.
Yes, but you see, so you have to understand one thing is when I was shooting those books, it's, we can say, commercial work,
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that it's not good or not interesting. It's something different. Now that I am working more in a photojournalistic way, I'm not shooting a book. I don't need to deliver 100 pictures.
Yes.
I need to deliver 10 good images that tells a story. And so now I'm totally focusing on that kind of work, series. Like each of the pictures should be good by themselves, stand by themselves. But then really the most important thing is to have a whole series of 10 images with a beginning and end, like music you compose. You don't start, you start in a certain way. There are certain kind of rules. You can break the rules, but at one point you need to tell a story. So you can be innovative and start with a weird picture, but then people need to understand your point. So that's very important in 10 pictures.
Now, I want to ask, there was a point in your life when you stepped out of the photo agency, stepped out of regular commercial work, and you just took your camera and went off. And to a lot of us out there who yearns stability and don't want to risk much, and doing it at such a late age, I think you're the biggest example of somebody that it's never too late to try something new and go down that off-beaten path.
Yes, so I suppose you are referring to the fact that 10 years ago I sold the shares of my agencies.
Yes.
And also I sold my house. I sold everything. I was doing flea markets the last month to sell, every small things.
Yeah.
And I left with a backpack. And so for the last 9 years, I'm traveling around the world and doing what I want to do. I have no house, but
the world is your home.
Yeah, exactly. Why? Because when I was 15 years old, I was traveling, hitchhiking through Europe. And then when I was 18 years old, I was, same thing, hitchhiking to Afghanistan. Like the road from Europe to Turkey, Iran, Afghanistan, India, Nepal, because it was after May 68, which is a big date in Europe, in France. And the Beatles were also a little bit involved in the India Hindu trip, let's say.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting. So I did it when I was 18. So it's shaped my life, honestly. So that's why for me it's very easy to just to go and have no strings attached, and it's great. In fact, I should have done that 10 years before.
I think that's something that I'm sure someone out there tuning in out of here, you know, because sometimes they feel like they're not doing exactly what they want to do, and they maybe don't want to take a risk, but sometimes it's better to take that leap of faith and see where life takes you.
Yeah.
And I want to definitely promote your workshop. Free, actually. You can register to workshops.exposure.ae. It's happening today.
Yes.
At 5:20 p.m. It's titled "Become a Better Photographer Through Better Editing."
Yes, right. So that's one thing, of course. The privilege of aging is that you know more things than when you are young. So I really improved the way I see pictures, the way I put them together, the way I can tell a story with the right editing process. So I will talk about those things, because very often when you see young photographers, they ask you, can I show you my portfolio? Of course. And then that's the main mistake. So there is no order, so they don't even understand the stories they are telling. So you have to tell them, listen, your story is probably that. And they say, oh yes, how do you know? Because I saw the picture, they are not in the right order. So many other things are lacking. So that's what I want to explain.
Exactly, guys. To all those who are tuning in and are hoping to visit the Exposure, check out this workshop that is hosted by Alain Schroeder. This is a man with great wisdom, great scholar in photography, and a whole lot of experience. And you can register to this workshop at workshops.exposure.ae. Again, Alain Schroeder, it's an absolute honor to have you here on the show. And to wherever life takes you, wherever the wind guides you, I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
And that is one of the many photographers that we have here at the event. Be sure to check out the 6th edition of Exposure. We're going to take a bit of a break, and I'll give you a little bit more details of what you can expect right here on Pulse 95.